Chang, and today I will be presenting my community project on youth artivism. Firstly, I would like to share a story that prompted me to create this very project. Several years ago from this day, I was very well acquainted with a girl that was incredibly shy and socially very inept, someone that was the type to suppress her own emotions for the sake of pleasing others, someone too scared to raise their voice. That someone was me. The perpetual issue of unempowered youth, too unconfident, too belittled by society to raise their own political voices, is what was the impetus for my community project today. To start off with, I would like to formally introduce myself. My name is Sena Chang, and my pronouns are she and her. I am currently a freshman at the American School in Japan, and I'm deeply curious about research in the social sciences. I hope that this short introduction does help develop a human connection between me and you that transcends the glass screen we are all very used to staring at the moment. Firstly, I will discuss the underpinning ideas of my initiative, those of which are the lack of cultural, political, and social understanding and awareness, whose effects can be translated through the following issues. And firstly, a lack of youth empowerment, and secondly, a disaffected youth voting population. Aggregating these statistics led me to search for actionable solutions, which included the following, as shown on the screen. Now, as I transition into discussing the formation of my initiative, I noted that the solutions proposed by researchers and strategists alike were sometimes ineffective within the context of the pandemic, which led me to seek other solutions. In addition, though many papers pointed to a central cause of this issue, they did not provide concrete steps to take. Many showcased messages that are good in intent, but were actually arbitrary and did not offer concrete, actionable steps. Which brings us to the initiative at hand, which stems from my passions of political activism and creative writing. Fused together, the term artivism is birthed, which is the foundation upon which my initiative stands. Led by the three-pronged mission I created, I determined that an international literary and arts magazine would be the best alleyway to venture down. Every one of these organizational objectives has normative underpinnings, as youth empowerment may lead to higher interest in political affairs, and the inclusion of marginalized communities may break many barriers that disincentivize the youth from voting. However, such an ambitious undertaking must, of course, stand upon a foundation that is steady, infallible, and fair. Thus, the reason that I designed my own organizational structure for my magazine, which is modeled off of other traditional companies' hierarchies. Now, returning to the organizational design of my magazine, inspired and influenced by numerous studies concerning organizational theory, the ideas central to my magazine are egalitarianism, meritocracy, as well as transparency. And some of the ways through which this was emphasized was through the sharing of important documents to the entirety of the staff, as well as providing promotional opportunities purely based on one's merit and past contributions to the magazine. Now, regarding the participants that were involved, there are currently over 20 individuals on the international team, and recruitment was based largely on an individual's commitment to our mission, which effectively broke down some of the socioeconomic barriers applicants may face, such as the inability to pay an application fee or the lack of a resume. In terms of the materials used in the founding of my magazine, materials were most, if not all, online based. All operations were conducted through the Google Cloud platform, which includes sites that the audience may be familiar with, such as Gmail, Google Spreadsheets, and Google Docs. Yunpu, a hosting site, along with Discord and other social media platforms, were also used in order to expand the reach and impact of our magazine. The process of recruitment, design, and brainstorming took a total of about 2 months, and it was not until October of 2020 that the Global Youth Review, the magazine's official name, was fully developed. With a solid mission and framework upon which submissions would be collected and evaluated, operations began, and the results yielded were tenfold of what we had expected. And currently, it is read in over 350 cities in 50 countries, with a cumulative readership of 14,000 people. And we've also identified several variables that may have fueled the magazine's global reach and impact, one of which may be its underlying philosophy. As aforementioned, the Global Youth Review exists to foster cross-cultural understanding and to uplift intersectional voices. And this mission may have appealed to the 41% of Japanese youth who simply are not satisfied with who they are, along with majority of the youth who do not have many opportunities to engage in political affairs and raise their political voices, at least in Japan. Additionally, conversations surrounding the Global Youth Review may have emerged out of the heightened awareness of race-related matters around the globe, as its founding was very close to when the first BLM protests started. And another contributing factor that may have fostered the magazine's worldwide growth may be its prioritization of strong relationships, particularly that between editors and submitters. As can be seen in our editorial flowchart, the main goal that underlies our editorial process is to foster strong relationships between our young writers and editors. And through the addition of free, personalized feedback and an average response time of about 3 weeks, the magazine places a strong emphasis on building meaningful connections between the contributor and editor. Next, numerous social media strategies were used, as outlined in my paper, through harnessing the power of social media, proven to be especially effective during COVID-19. The magazine was able to garner over 149,000 Twitter impressions in its first 4 months and a cumulative 2,000 plus followers across all social media platforms. Now, this concludes a comprehensive review of the very basic foundations that underlie my community project. Next, I would like to discuss the magazine's impact and expansion efforts, which are underway as we speak. The initiative is ongoing in its efforts to raise levels of youth participation in civic affairs and amplifying the youth's political voices. However, I do acknowledge that it is indeed difficult to quantify its exact contributions in its area, despite the many points of data collected on the right. However, numerous narratives have been curated by our staff, and many have noted that the Global Youth Review has developed their interest in politics and has empowered them to share their voices and use them as a means for social change. Through qualitative data, I have deduced that my magazine has, to an extent, empowered youth to partake in political affairs. Now, I would like to address several areas we are currently focusing and improving on, some which may fall under the category of future considerations. The first of which is accessibility. We are aware of the many ableist narratives that have been perpetrated throughout modern society, and we seek to make our magazine one that is welcoming to all instead of a select subset. And for this reason, we have eliminated an application fee and have used vision-friendly fonts in order to combat systemic barriers and foster a diverse community of writers and editors from around the globe, though there is, of course, significant room for improvement in this particular field. Now on to the exciting topic of expansion. In the next year, we plan to appeal to a more global audience by translating our issues into different languages, and we've already identified key regions from which our audience hail. Additionally, we have been featured on various organizations, sites, news medias, and alongside many social media campaigns, which have all helped expand our magazine. The Orb, our staff-run blog, is also set to release next month, and this, of course, is merely a glimpse into what we have planned in the future. And I sincerely wish for the continuation of the Global Youth Review after 3 years, 5 years, and even a decade, as empowering youth has been an incredibly fulfilling experience for myself. Now, as I conclude my presentation, I leave you with a final message that progress is always made through small efforts such as these, which exist amongst a plethora of other initiatives. And if there's something that I want the audience to take away from my presentation today, it is that impact is truly something that is multifaceted. It constantly reaches us in different forms and in different amounts in different extents. And the reason that I mention this is that my life's sole mission has centered around this single word of impact. And I sincerely hope that I've fulfilled an infinitesimal part of that today, as well as through my project. And with that, I will conclude my formal presentation. And I would also like to take the time to acknowledge Helena and Tala for partaking in this project with me. And last but not least, I would like to express my immense gratitude to the IYRC, which has amplified my voice in the field of social science research and has given me the unimaginable opportunity to share my community project with those who are also leading in their respective fields of research. Thank you so much.
Great presentation and wonderful. Any questions for Sena? You get me for questions. Really easy one. How can students get involved, Sena?
Great question. We currently have editor applications out on our website, and we also are planning to release outreach applications, which include positions of, social media managers and content creators, graphic designers on our website in the next month. So keep an eye out for that. But editor applications are always open and they can be accessed on the join button on our website.
And we have a question from Kwalong.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation. I think one question I had was from going from identifying a problem and then taking that initiative to make a change. What do you think was the biggest challenge, and how did you overcome that?
Uh, in terms of my own team, I think the biggest challenge was organization because at first we were quite cluttered and we didn't really have a system of organization. But through tools such as Notion and Google Calendar, Google Spreadsheets, we were able to finally lay down a groundwork and establish a routine that we were all familiar with. And I think that that's still or that still makes up the bones of our organization today, and that it's what keeps us going to this day. So for future founders of initiatives such as these, I would really put an emphasis on organization.
Thank you. That's really inspiring.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot.
Wonderful job, Sena. We'll now go on to our next